The broken home, the divorce between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, didn't just mark the end of a beautiful romance. It also led to a deep divide within their family, especially for their children. When Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie got together in the mid-2000s, they quickly became one of Hollywood's most powerful couples. Radiating glamour on prestigious red carpets, they captured the public's attention not just for their fame, but for the image of a happy family alongside their children. Maddox, Pax, Knox, Zahara, Shiloh, and Vivian. For years, fans followed their every move, from globe-trotting vacations to tender moments with their kids. However, as their relationship began to fracture, the bond within the family also started to break apart. Everything seemed perfect in the beginning, to the point that Brad Pitt officially adopted the children Angelina Jolie had before their relationship. But after the couple announced their split in 2016, the kids began living with their mother. Now they frequently accompany Jolie to major Hollywood events, marking a stark shift in the Jolie-Pitt family dynamic. Angelina Jolie officially filed for divorce from Brad Pitt just 2 years after their wedding anniversary, citing irreconcilable differences. She sought full custody of all 6 children, allowing Brad only visitation rights, and notably did not request child support from her ex-husband. The legal battle between the two stars dragged on for years, costing millions of dollars. Not only did it tarnish both of their reputations, but the dispute also had a profound impact on their children, who were caught in the middle of a seemingly never-ending conflict. Before the family turmoil erupted, Brad Pitt had a strong relationship with his children. The media was once flooded with heartwarming images of him doting on them, capturing moments of genuine affection and care. Pax Thien, the Vietnamese-born son who later publicly criticized Brad Pitt as a terrible and despicable father, was once cradled lovingly in his arms as a small child, in what seemed to be a warm and tender moment. Shiloh, the daughter who was recently granted permission to drop the Pitt surname, was once seen gazing up at her father with adoration in deeply emotional photos. Meanwhile, Maddox, who later testified against his father in court, had also shared a close bond with Brad Pitt during his younger years. The shift in Pitt's relationship with his children after the bitter divorce remains a heartbreaking reality for many fans. Before the post-divorce disputes, Brad Pitt often spoke about the joys of fatherhood and how he learned something new every day about raising his children. He acknowledged the differences in raising sons versus daughters, but always emphasized that love and attention were the most important things. In a 2014 interview with Psychology's magazine, Pitt once shared, "I care about my children more than I care about myself, and I think that's the true definition of love. Since becoming a father, I feel like the richest man in the world." He also spoke about how fatherhood had changed him in many ways, making him more generous, more alive, and how he considered his children the most important part of his life. "I love being a father and all the responsibilities that come with it." These heartfelt statements once painted Brad Pitt as a devoted and loving father. However, after his highly publicized and contentious divorce from Angelina Jolie, that image has gradually faded as the distance between him and his children has only widened. According to sources close to the family, Pitt and Jolie often clashed over parenting styles. Having grown up in a strict household, Pitt believed in setting firm rules, while Jolie had a different approach, encouraging independence and personal responsibility from a young age. Despite their differences, they once shared a common vision for their children's future. No one could have predicted that Pitt's relationship with his children would fracture to this extent, especially considering how devoted he once was as a father. But everything changed, and the reasons weren't simple. It all began with the infamous incident on a private flight in 2016. Angelina Jolie accused Brad Pitt of being drunk, out of control, even choking one of the children and striking another in the face. Though Pitt denied any allegations of abuse, the event was enough to ignite a prolonged conflict. Then came rumors that Angelina Jolie influenced the children's perception of their father. In 2018, reports surfaced that she allegedly told Pax Thien that Pitt never wanted to adopt him, even recalling how furious he had been when she decided to do so. However, other sources suggested that Pitt never outright rejected Pax. He was merely concerned about adopting a 3-year-old who didn't speak English while their biological daughter Shiloh was still an infant at the time. The situation escalated further when a former Jolie-Pitt bodyguard claimed that Jolie discouraged the children from seeing their father and even enforced strict confidentiality agreements among staff to prevent any leaks. With Brad Pitt's contact with his older children dwindling and his younger children's interactions with him being limited due to his work schedule, the distance between them only grew wider. And the result? A series of decisive actions from the children. Paxthene publicly condemned Pitt on social media, Maddox ignored his father's birthday gifts, and 3 daughters, including both biological and adopted, dropped the Pitt surname. These actions not only left Pitt heartbroken, but also shocked the public. Now, looking back at the entire saga, it's clear that the person most deeply wounded is Brad Pitt himself. A father who once considered his children his entire world is now estranged from them. Yet, despite everything, he hasn't lost hope. The door to Brad Pitt's home remains open, waiting for the day his children choose to return. But the biggest question remains, will that day ever come? A once golden couple had hoped to raise their children with a well-rounded upbringing, not just through traditional education, but through real-world experiences across the globe. From a relationship that wasn't yet beyond repair to an irreversible distance when the divorce first began, Pitt's relationship with his children wasn't as strained. Some sources even reported that Shiloh still held deep affection and support for her father. Even Maddox, who later testified against him, once stated that he didn't hate his father. He simply told the truth and was happy that Pitt had successfully overcome his struggles with alcohol. Yet over time, the bond between father and children deteriorated, leading to heartbreaking moments that left Pitt devastated and the world stunned. From Paxthene's public condemnation on social media to Maddox ignoring his father's birthday gifts and 3 daughters simultaneously dropping the Pitt surname, the deep rupture in the Jolie-Pitt family dynamic became undeniable. This divorce didn't just end a celebrated marriage, it left lasting scars on everyone involved, especially Brad Pitt, a father who once built his life around his children. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, once a beautiful couple, but certainly not a civilized one after divorce. Many celebrity couples have divorced after years of being together, but few have engaged in such a loud and bitter battle, dragging their children into the conflict to the point where they publicly denounce their father, as seen in the case of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Regardless of whether their actions were intentional or not, one thing is clear. Their messy post-divorce feud has had a negative psychological impact on their 6 children. According to experts, parental divorce can significantly shape a child's perception of relationships. Though the effects vary based on individual differences, divorce often leads to emotional distress in children, causing feelings of insecurity, fear, anger, or sadness. It shatters a child's expectations of family stability, making them feel uncertain and less confident. They may develop a more cautious attitude toward intimacy, commitment, and long-term relationships. Additionally, children of divorced parents often struggle with a sense of division, feeling torn between 2 separate households. They may experience detachment, isolation, and confusion about how to navigate their relationships with both parents. Beyond that, divorce can erode a child's belief in love and marriage. They may worry that they will face similar struggles and heartbreak in the future. Moreover, parental separation can make children more emotionally sensitive and irritable, making it harder for them to process complex emotions. They may express anger, frustration, depression, or develop a tendency to suppress their feelings altogether. Some children may even mimic the post-divorce relationship dynamics of their parents, leading to unstable and conflict-ridden relationships of their own. They might develop fears of abandonment and struggle to establish stable, healthy connections with others. However, while parental divorce can have negative effects, not all children experience the same level of distress. Many adapt to the changes and grow into emotionally resilient individuals with fulfilling relationships. Ultimately, it's not the divorce itself that causes the greatest harm, it's how the parents handle it. The way they treat each other and the love and attention they provide their children post-divorce play a much bigger role in shaping their well-being. In the case of Jolie and Pitt, it's evident that Angelina Jolie has made questionable remarks about her ex-husband in front of their children, while Brad Pitt, in turn, has not provided the level of attention and care they may have needed. These missteps have led to the unfortunate fallout we see today. Perhaps this once iconic couple needs to seriously reconsider their roles as parents.